Here with Frank Smith, CEO of Matchroom Boxing. How you doing, sir?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Good, good, good. How you liking Dallas?
I love Dallas. It's a bit warm, I'll be honest with you. It's a bit toasty for me. I'm used to the rain and wind of the UK, but it's a pleasure to be here. What a venue. We did the Mikey Garcia-Jesse Vargas fight here. We had about 12,000 people a few years back now. What an atmosphere. And you saw the atmosphere of the weigh-in today. It's going to be a great night tomorrow night.
Yeah, a lot of energy in for the weigh-in. Jesse Bam Rodriguez is looking like definitely one of the stars of the sport. Can you talk about that fight between him and Cafu, the unification?
Tremendous fight. Look, and fair play to Cafu stepping up as well, coming across to the US to take on Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Jesse, throughout his career, every fight we've been involved with him, has always wanted to test himself and take him to the next level. He's not about these easy, voluntary fights. He wants to, as quickly as possible, unify and show he's the dominant force in the sport. And he's doing that. Look at the crowd you're going to have in here, close to 10,000 people tomorrow night for Jesse Bam Rodriguez. And then, obviously, the Martinez fight is there, should he come through on Saturday night. But he's got a real test against Cafu first. A unification fight, a proper fight, the belt's on the line, and it's going to be a big night.
Yeah, but about the Martinez fight, how did that unfold, especially with unfinished business?
Yeah, look, it's always when they're looking at the Riyadh season and Seller and ring cards, they want to make the best cards possible. That's one of the best fights out there to be made in the sport. Although this fight was here, it was just a case of get that done and then it's ready to go. He's got to come through, as I say. He can't be looking past Saturday night, and he isn't. Look, he's a true professional in everything he does, so he knows what job he's got to do first and foremost, and then opens up the November 22nd fight.
And then the co-main, we got a very good fight between Diego Pacheco, rising contender, and Trevor McCumbee, who's, I wouldn't call him a gatekeeper, he's very dangerous. Can you talk about that fight?
Yeah, brilliant fight. Look, Diego Pacheco has shown the levels through the years, and you forget how young he is. We've worked with him since he was 17 years old, and the journey we've been on with him, I think he's had 23 fights now, something like that. Trevor McCumbee, a real test. We saw him in the Caleb Plant fight. He showed his levels there. He showed he deserves to be at that level. It was a great fight with Caleb Plant that night. And I think this is going to be one of the toughest tests of Diego's career, but the kind of fights he needs. He's WBO #1. He's going to be mandatory for the WBO world title when that gets ordered. So he needs these step-ups, he needs these fights, to get motivated and to build himself into the position we believe he can be in. Just 23 years old, it's sensational to see what he's done. And two young stars, both him and Jesse Bam Rodriguez, and to have been on this journey with them, it's been spectacular, but a real test for Diego and the kind of fight he needs.
And we're going to jump to the young prospects, the Olympians. I've seen there was a lot of heat up there yesterday on the small talk segment. Nashawn Dev and Amari Jones. What are the plans for those guys?
Yeah, look, special fighters. Amari Jones, Nishant Dev, amongst a whole host of young stars we've signed from last year's Paris Olympics. Amari is a brilliant fight. We saw his professional debut at the Creed Royale. Then he fought on the Boots undercard as well. He can go all the way. We truly believe in him. Nishant Dev, he's got the whole country of India behind him, and we want to do big fight nights in India. But he's back out here. He had the performance. He had a bit of a lacklustre performance, I'd say, on the MSG card. He's got a lot to prove this time out. He knows he needs to deliver a big performance. It's all about momentum. He can get another win in just 4 weeks from his last fight, 4 or 5 weeks from his last fight. It's all about that momentum to keep him busy and keep building these young guys.
And about the rebrand, we see the sign back here. We've seen the rollout on Instagram and social media and everything. Explain how that came about and what made this the right time for that.
It was about a year ago we were looking at the brand and what we'd done. Look, we're, as a business, not a company that gets complacent. It's quite easy to sit there and go, do you know what, everything's going well, let's leave it. We're always looking at how we can improve things and take things forward. The brand for us was always a space where we thought it needed work. And I think the guys have done a tremendous job. This is a year of work to get to this point. And it was about looking at all of the information behind the scenes, speaking to our consumers, speaking to the fans, speaking to the fighters, everyone involved, to see what they thought. And that's what we went through. That was a 6-month process. Then there was a design process. Rebrands is never easy. Ultimately, it's opinions, isn't it? People will look at it and go, it's a load of rubbish. Some people might say, that's great. And that's what you have to live with. But they've done a tremendous job, and it's all about it's not just a logo, it's about changing the way we operate things. You see the press conference yesterday, you see the weigh-in today, just making things quicker, snappier, edgier, and coming at it from that direction. The world is changing, the way people digest things is changing. So it's not just a logo change, it's everything that goes into what we do.
And with that, are y'all looking to target, say, just big names, or y'all looking to build from the ground with the young guys and let them kind of take the reins, or what's the
a bit of everything. Look, we promoted people Well, we've been backing boxing really for the big time for the last 13, 14 years. You know, started in the UK and then in the US about 6 or 7 years ago with Danny Jacobs. For us, it's about both the biggest names out there and building the young talent. We've done it, and you know we had a big out of home campaign. It was the ordinary people, extraordinary talent. And that's what we believe in. You know, we represent these guys and girls, and we want to build them into the biggest stars possible. So it's exciting.
And then the pivot, like you were saying about the Riyadh cards, Raymond Ford was supposed to be taking on
Abraham Nova.
Abraham Nova is the new replacement. That's a pretty tough fight there.
It's a good fight. You know, look, these Riyadh season cards, these Ring Magazine cards, as we've seen, it's all about the best fighting the best. It's about making great fights. Obviously, Ray Ford was supposed to fight Kakachi. That fight got pulled off due to Kakachi being injured. So we worked hard to find the best possible replacement. And I think Abraham Nova's perfect for that. He's the kind of guy that's going to come and bring a fight, and it's what Ray needs. You know, look, Ray wants the biggest fights. He wants to win the world titles again, and he'll get those opportunities. But first and foremost, August 16th, he's got to come through this test.
And what are the plans you guys have going forward past this day? Any new other shows coming up?
Yeah, working through it now. We're actually working through our schedule all the way through to December. Got about 12 to 14 shows we're working through. It's a busy time getting everything together. We've taken a bit of August off, well really most of August off, because it's always a tougher month, you know, for any sports, any events, any live events. And we're back in September. Like I say, we're working through the schedule. Announcements very soon for September through to December.
And we see Dalton Smith got in the ring the other day against Subriel Matias, and Turki Al-Sheikh seems like he wants that fight to happen next. What do you think about that one?
He wants that fight. That's the fight for November 22nd. We're working through. It's a brilliant fight. You know, Dalton Smith has worked his way into that position. He's had great wins. You know, he had unfortunate times, lost a bit of momentum at times due to injuries, but he's back and he's active and he's fighting and he's looking in great shape, and he wants to go straight in there. He worked his way into that mandatory position, and that's the fight you'll see next. Dalton Smith against Subriel Matias. What a fight. I believe Dalton Smith does the job.
There's a couple other guys we'll talk about. Tito Mercado, I've seen him up here on stage. Yeah,
he was here earlier.
Any plans for Tito?
Yeah, he'll be back out. We're just working through his return, September, October time. He'll be back out, and excited to get him back in the ring. You know, excited to see him back fight.
I've seen a little bit of
Who was he going at yesterday?
I'm not even sure who he was, but I like him.
Constantly going.
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
But it's what you need. You need to get your name. You need to get your name out.
Yeah, no, he's definitely one of those guys that's interesting.
100%,
He's definitely a guy that's interesting. Sure. I was gonna say I seen Connor Ben and Shakur making a little bit of noise up there. How realistic do you think that fight is to happen in the next?
Anything's possible. If you say before about the weights, you'd say probably unlikely, but the reality is, as we've seen in boxing, anything's possible. Don't write anything off. Fights can be made. It'll be a great build-up between the two of them. You know, you saw the two of them on the Ariel Helwani show earlier this week. You know, if that's the fight that can be made, it would be massive for sure.
Okay. Any last words?
I'm excited. Don't miss it tomorrow night. Live on DAZN. Jesse Bam Rodriguez, Diego Pacheco, Unification, Stars of the Future, Amari Jones, Nishant Dev, Amo Williams back out as well. Don't miss it. Live on DAZN.